things I'm going to want to do when inspecting a hive is just look on the outside, make sure everything's okay, so I can remove this wooden viewing panel that is magnetized on with earth magnets, and I can just take a look quickly to see if there's any comb that's attached to the wall, because I want to be careful when I'm inspecting the comb that I'm not completely ripping it off the bar. So I noticed that there are maybe 3 or 4 bars that are attached to the wall right here close to the far end of my hive. I'm not using this part of the hive yet. So I have 19 bars, and maybe bar 15, 16, 17, 18 are have been attached to the wall. And then the next step after that is to take your Allen wrench and open up the 2 sides. When you open the lid, you're going to look for bees on the lid, bees on the top of the bars, and just look at their activity, look for pests and other intruders. And then after you inspect visually on the inside, that's when you can start taking out 1 bar at a time and putting it on your inspection stand and start to get the contents of the comb. So you'll start to see patterns as you move along and inspect from bar to bar. And what you do is you take those percentages that you guess, that you estimate, and you put that either on the paper inspection form or on your Healthy Hive management software online on the beepods.com website. It doesn't always have to equal 100%, because sometimes the comb is going to be built out, but there's not going to be anything in it. So that's just considered empty comb. Once you do that for every bar and you put it into our Healthy Hive management software, you're going to start seeing a bar graph, and over time you can see how that content of the comb actually changes. Even throughout the weeks in the year, you're also going to see how the bees repurpose the comb and move stuff around in their hive. Okay, so usually what you're going to see is near the entrance, it might be a little bit of honey, but after that, maybe bars 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 might be where they keep their brood area, which is their eggs and larvae and capped larvae. And that's where they raise the bees. And then the further you go back into the hive, further away from your entrance, is going to be more where they store their honey. Okay, so it's usually the brood area and some pollen mixed in there, and then some honey to insulate it at the top. And then the deeper you go in, the more and more honey you'll find. So I'm going to inspect bar 14 here, and I've just started prying it apart. So I crack this apart. It takes a lot of effort. So this is bar 14. So I'm just gonna take a look at this. Wow. So on this side I see lots of drone brood, lots of honey, and some nectar, but mostly the rest is empty. And on the other side I see again drone brood and some capped honey on the along the top. Of course, they like to insulate it. We're just going to go bar to bar. What I need to do is just record bar 14, what I saw. That bar was 100% built out in comb, so I write 100. And then for nectar, 10%. Honey, combining the side A and side B together, there was quite a bit of honey. So I'm going to say 45% honey. I didn't see any eggs, but I did see larvae. So I'll say maybe 10% larvae. So that's all I'm doing there. Then I go to the next bar. So that's bar 14. Okay, and I do see 1 teacup right there. So you can see that the bees are working on it. They possibly are going to be building that up. So that possibly could mean Since it's in the middle, it could be a super seeger. I don't see anything in it yet, so there's no egg. I'm gonna put this back. So I need to go to bar 12, and I just need to bump these bees out of the way very carefully, just to annoy them enough but not crush them. I'm just going up and down and side to side, bumping the bees. Okay, so now I'm going to be closing up my hive after I'm done inspecting, and the first thing I need to do is just move all the bars back, because I had moved them all over into this empty space, so I can have room to take the bars in and out and just to look inside. So now this is going to involve a lot of bee bumping by putting my finger in there. You might not want to put your finger in, but maybe try to use the feather instead. So I'm slowly closing up this gap. So the bees are getting a little mad. And we're just going to do one bar at a time here. Push it together. I'm going to take bar 17, 18, 19 and my feeder jar and just very carefully push it together to close that last gap. Okay, so now that I have the hive back together again, I'm just going to put the lid back on, make sure the bees aren't where the crossbars will be. Try to make sure you're crushing as few bees as possible, and then you just do the Allen key